In 1934, a bankrupt Nikola Tesla paid his hotel bill by handing management a wooden box containing a weapon of mass destruction. But the eccentric genius hadn't built this to start a war. He designed it to force world peace by creating an impenetrable border defense. This theoretical death ray would fire mercury particles at 48 times the speed of sound. It could obliterate 10,000 enemy airplanes from hundreds of miles away. This apocalyptic claim sparked a quiet international arms race. The Soviet Union and the UK both entered secret negotiations to secure the technology. So when Tesla died in that very hotel in 1943, the US government panicked. Agents frantically swept his room to seize the blueprints before foreign spies could. They spent weeks reviewing his documents, but officially denied finding the microfilms, which leaves a lingering question. Was the ultimate weapon hidden in that vault? Or was it just a desperate bluff?
Picture this. The year is 1884. A young, virtually penniless immigrant named Nikola Tesla just arrived in America. He's got basically nothing to his name except for this one introductory letter written by a manager named Charles Batchelor, addressed to none other than the legendary Thomas Edison. And Batchelor's letter was incredibly bold. He wrote, "I know two great men. One is you, and the other is this young man."
I mean, you just have to imagine the sheer tension in that room, right? On one side, you have Thomas Edison, the established, powerful boss of the electrical world. On the other, you've got Nikola Tesla, the brilliant, visionary underdog who sees the fundamental nature of electricity entirely differently. It begs a pretty huge question. Can two minds this brilliant and egos this massive really share the same grid? Like, how long before this collaboration completely combusts?
Part 1. Two geniuses collide. To really grasp the explosion that followed, we've got to look at their initial, let's say, incredibly strained collaboration at the Continental Edison Company. See, a massive philosophical and technological conflict was already brewing over how electricity should actually be generated and delivered. Edison was totally invested in direct current, or DC. But DC had a major flaw. It was highly inefficient over long distances, requiring costly power stations to be installed every 2 miles just to keep the lights dimly lit. Tesla, on the other hand, championed alternating current, or AC. Because AC periodically reverses its direction 50 to 60 times a second, it could flexibly sustain varying levels of high voltage and minimize power loss. It was vastly more efficient for long-distance transmission.
But despite the clear, undeniable mathematical advantages of AC, Edison just wasn't having it. He completely dismissed Tesla's ideas, famously calling alternating current too dangerous and unfeasible. Forced to work on a DC system he fundamentally didn't believe in, a completely disillusioned Tesla actually quit. And his immediate reward for standing his ground? Well, he found himself struggling to eke out a living, spending time doing brutal manual labor, digging ditches for just $2 a day. But you have to ask yourself, how long can you really keep a generational genius in a ditch? Part 2. The current war begins. Tesla pulls off a massive bounce back, finalizing his polyphase induction motor and attracting a powerful new ally.
Let's trace just how incredibly fast this whole thing escalates. 1888, Tesla presents his landmark paper on alternating current motors to the scientific community. George Westinghouse, who is this massively successful investor and industrialist, is so blown away he buys all 40 of Tesla's trailblazing AC patents. This alliance immediately sparks what history remembers as the War of the Currents, spanning from 1888 to 1892. Westinghouse and Tesla are now directly challenging Edison's empire, leading to a climax in 1892 where Wall Street titan J.P. Morgan actually merges Edison out of his own company.
But hold on, before we get to that wild corporate finale, we have to talk about the shockingly aggressive tactics used during the war itself. Tesla and Westinghouse clearly had the superior, more efficient technology, for sure. But Thomas Edison had something equally powerful: immense cultural influence and media control. It brings up a fascinating strategic question. How do you defeat a rival who essentially controls the front page of the public consciousness?
Part 3. Edison's Media Smear Campaign. We are officially entering the most ruthless phase of this rivalry.
Looking at the historical sources, we can see exactly how Edison leveraged his massive resources. He orchestrated a widespread media smear campaign against alternating current. He issued numerous articles in major publications specifically designed to warn the American public about the supposed dangers of AC power. While Tesla's camp presented evidence that AC was safe and far more effective over long distances, Edison attempted to sway public opinion through sheer fear, portraying Tesla's life's work as a deadly threat to the average household. So here's the crucial point. Despite Edison's relentless media attacks, the economic realities of electricity transmission were just impossible to ignore. The market ultimately decided the winner. John Pierpont Morgan, the Wall Street wolf backing Edison, realized AC was the future. In 1892, Morgan orchestrated a merger that not only switched the company entirely to alternating current instruments, but also brutally removed Edison's name from the masthead entirely, creating the corporate behemoth we now know as General Electric. Edison was sidelined from his own empire.
Now, corporate maneuvers and Wall Street victories are one thing. Winning the boardroom is great, but proving the safety, the reliability, and the sheer scale of this technology on a global stage in front of millions of people, now that is a completely different challenge.
Part 4. Victory at Niagara Falls. Let's shift our focus to the monumental, real-world applications of this tech. $1 million. That is the exact amount by which Tesla and Westinghouse outbid General Electric to secure the contract to light up the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. By illuminating the entire Columbian Exposition with alternating current, they demonstrated its flawless capability to the whole globe. It was a staggering public relations victory that completely neutralized Edison's earlier smear campaigns. Riding high on that World's Fair success, Tesla finally achieves his ultimate childhood dream. 1895, the schematics are unveiled to construct the first-ever hydroelectrical power plant in Niagara Falls. They successfully harnessed the immense raw power of the falls, converted it into alternating current, and pushed that electrical power to distant locations. It was a feat of engineering that many thought was just utterly impossible. This Niagara facility was hailed worldwide. The source material captures this moment perfectly, calling it the ultimate defeat of the direct energy school of thought. The War of the Currents was decisively over. AC was the undisputed victor. But, this leads us to a rather melancholy question. What exactly happens to a visionary victor once the war is finally won? Part 5. A bitter, fractured legacy. The aftermath of this monumental rivalry is deeply fascinating and honestly pretty tragic. Just listen to this incredible historical anecdote. Back in 1915, it was widely reported by the New York Times that Tesla and Edison were going to be jointly awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics. But when the ceremony happened, the prize went to someone else entirely. Why? Because the animosity ran so deep that Tesla absolutely refused to share the prestigious award with his nemesis. The grudge was so powerful it literally cost them both a Nobel Prize. The depth of this lingering bitterness pops up again just 2 years later. 1917, Tesla is awarded the absolute highest honor in electronic engineering. But there was a catch. It was called the Edison Medal. Tesla loathed that the award was named after his rival so much that he opted to leave the venue right before he was supposed to be presented with it. Frantic organizers eventually found the brilliant mind who electrified the world sitting across the street in Bryant Park, feeding the pigeons. Ultimately, their historical fates diverged starkly. You've got Nikola Tesla, who pioneered the AC technology that literally powers our world today. But due to his eccentricities, lack of business acumen, and a tendency to give away his patents or overspend, he died virtually penniless in a New York hotel room. Thomas Edison, on the other hand, despite being entirely defeated on the fundamental technology during the current war, was a master businessman who retained immense commercial success and incredible wealth. Yet time does offer a slight sense of resolution. Despite all the smear campaigns, the very public battles, and the profound hatred, Edison eventually offered a grudging respect for his greatest rival. Reflecting on the era, Edison later conceded, Tesla was one of the truly great figures in the development of our electric world, a massive admission from a man who once called Tesla's life work unfeasible. And the direct, modern relevance of this explainer is literally all around you right now. When you boil a kettle, turn on your television, or plug in your phone charger today, you are utilizing the power grids built on Nikola Tesla's alternating current. Edison may have won the brutal game of business and wealth in the 19th century, but Nikola Tesla unquestionably won the future. Which leaves us with this final, really profound thought to take away. We live in a world that is entirely dependent on a system engineered by a man who is pushed to the margins of society. If the visionary who successfully powered the entire Earth ended up dying penniless and alone, what is the true, ultimate price of inventing the future? It's a compelling question to ponder the next time you simply flip a light switch. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparked your curiosity, and keep learning.